God of wisdom, truth, and knowledge, we come before you seeking an understanding of your will, your character, and your love. As we gain a better understanding of you, may it change us away from the reflection of Satan, that we may be the people, the children that you always desired. Amen. I want to welcome everybody. This is study number 17. And the 8th presentation of the 13 that I've been given. We've been looking at Revelation 17. And I'm hoping that most, if not all of us, now have a somewhat clearer understanding of how to approach the chapter. The importance of methodology, and I guess most importantly, understanding the importance regarding the times in which we live, because we see prophecy being fulfilled before our eyes. So I just want to open the floor up to any questions or clarification people need. So either we're embarrassed because I know people don't understand things. So it's your opportunity before we continue through the camp. Precious, is it? Yes. Hi, Blessing.
Hello.
Family.
Okay, I just seek clarification after you had read a quotation to SM 101.1 to 1. Okay, the structure which you gave to us from 1798 to 1844, and then the 40 years going to the end. Okay, I didn't quite get it.
So I've drawn what I think you've said. Which is similar to what we drew yesterday. And could you just clarify your question?
Okay, you then put numbers 1 to 3 between 798 and 1844.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you were trying to explain to us the events that were happening. I didn't quite get the connection. When you're saying we read in the newspapers, and then when we coming internally, newspapers externally.
Okay, so I think I've got, unless you want to say more. What we need to remember when we consider prophecy, when we read inspiration, that everybody, each of us has an agenda. Oh. And our agenda often is unique to our own experience. Unique. So everybody wants an answer that is relevant and meaning to themselves. So that means our questions are all different. Now, we're all part of a movement, and all of us, 100% of us, are connected by an idea that we have come to the end of the world, however we've come to that understanding. We believe the core tenets of this movement, and the several people or leaders that God has raised up, specifically Elders Jeff and Tess. So it's fine at that level. They've taught on the issue of the Sunday law and what the great test or the testing message at the end of the world will be. And at that generic level, we would all have the same question and we'd all get the same answer. But there are many details, many individual questions that each of us have. So when you want to understand a story or give an explanation, you have to know that there's not only one story to be told, one version to be told. So we're in Revelation 17. We've discussed this 1, 2, 3 pattern. We explained it through the framework of Isaiah 46. And in Isaiah 46, the waymark or position that we've called number 2 is the story being told literally at number 2, or is the author in another history, another dispensation, and pretending to be at number 2? So we'll do really there or pretend there. I'll do the same thing. Reading the newspapers or having a dream, a vision about the future. In Isaiah 46, is it A, newspaper, B, vision? Put your hands up if it's vision. Newspaper. So online, nobody knows the answer. Here. Except Justina. Maybe a couple of others. So this is Isaiah. Isaiah is writing. And he's alive. And he sees things happening. So we know it's option A. He sees what's going on all around him. He did not have a dream or a vision. So we understand that context. In Revelation, same question. The person is John now. Is it a vision that he's having? Or is he reading the newspaper? Vision? So everybody here is in agreement that it's a vision. So we had Isaiah and we had John. Identical experiences. One is really at number 2 and the other one is not at number 2. All I chose to do, because someone made a point about it, is to say not only was Isaiah having that present day experience, someone else did. We'll call that person Miller. So that tells you the importance of this human being. Just that concept alone. Forget an angel number. Raises him to the level of Isaiah. Because he's having an identical experience to Isaiah. And that is superior, in my opinion, than John's experience. Because he's not even there. Are we okay at that level? So, the reason we know that Miller has the experience of Isaiah is because Ellen White tells us. And she tells us that in Second Selected Messages 101. I've got 102 on the board, of course. So she doesn't speak of Miller as an individual. She speaks about a people. We call it a movement. And she's going to explain in detail what happens. I'm going to say what happens to Isaiah. But she's speaking about Miller and herself. But it's the same experience that Isaiah had. So does that make sense? So what we'll do is just tell a random story. Which is what I said at the beginning. This is not the Millerite story. It's a Millerite story. There are lots of them. What I mean by that is it's a version of that story. So we'll do that. What will be on this line? What will be on this line? One, 2, 3. Yeah? No tricks. We want to understand 3. So, I'm saying from what I read, this was 1844. We're not going to go into the details of this. So, we'd have to work out a theme and some similarities. So, depending upon what number 3 was, And you're going to see this as the second advent. We're going to go to number 1, and I'm going to go to Daniel chapter 9. I could have gone to lots of different places. I'm not going to explain this one. What I mean is I'll explain why we're in the verse, but I'm not going to explain why I chose this one. So we're in 926. And this is going to be a prediction about the end. So this is not what's happening in this story, because it's a bit more complicated. After 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. Now these types of prophecies are complicated, and they can be understood at various levels. So this verse can be understood as a sequence of events, but it could also be understood in a different way. So I'm just going to pick up the last bit. It says, at the end of the war, desolations are determined. And if you were to reword that last phrase, it means that the one who punished people will be punished. And you see the same thing in verse 27, where it's even clearer. Even unto the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So if you take the last part of both verses, it says the one who does punishment will be punished. And the people that were alive around the year 1798, in real life they're alive at that time, they read these verses and they said, this person who persecuted was the Pope, and they're going to be persecuted, killed, put into prison by Napoleon. And then they saw that this verse was being fulfilled in their history. That's what number 1 is showing. Then a couple of years later, I say couple, it's like 35 years. You imagine that. Our movement's been around for that long. And we've had hundreds of things happen. They have one thing in Europe and they have to wait about 35 years. Is it 35 or 33? Someone will tell me. 33 to 35 years for the next event to happen. That's the stars. And then the third one is the warfare that's going on between France and England as it spills over into the Middle East. So That's the third event. And all of those three events that people are alive and witnessing can all be considered number 2. So it's, in this version, it's a period of time like 42 years. In our original Revelation 17 story, number 2 is a singular event, 1798. So it can be both. I don't want to use the concept point and period. All I'm saying is, in this story, number 2 lasts for 42 years. So that's number 2, and that points us to number 3. And depending on where you are in that story, this is 4 years. Or 46. So you can see you're really close, 4 years to the end. 1840 to 44. So hopefully it shouldn't be new that these singular waymarks can be understood as a period of time, depending upon what you're trying to achieve. I would have preferred to pick a nice story that was a singular event. Isaiah, singular event. But the one Ellen White gives us, and I like the passage because it gives a lot of information, and it's a good proof of this methodology. But the baggage that comes with that, complexity, is that it's a 42-year period. And I don't want that to confuse people, which I think it has. So you can take all of those three things as a singular issue, that leads you to 1844. I didn't make up that it's more than one. She speaks about special prophecies which are in process of fulfillment in order. And 1, 2, and 3 are 3 special prophecies. It says historical events, plural. Napoleon, stars, Ottoman Empire. Those events were a fulfillment of prophecy. And when you did that, people could see that prophecy was history being symbolized, which is what we've been doing in Revelation 17. Ahead is a figurative explanation of history. Next question. Yeah, do you have that, Paul? Could we have a mic? Oh, did I answer your question? Good.
In fact, you replied to my question. En fait, when you explained that in the Millerite history, point 2 it's a period of time of 40 or 42 years. But in our history, or no, not in our history, but in Isaiah 46:10, it's about only one event. So the question I wanted to ask you yesterday night, c'est for in our own history of the Sunday law, the point two you put it as 2021, the agitation, and we list all the other meanings of 2021. So for us, is it one event or several? Ce point 2. Donc pour nous, le point 2, ça serait quoi? Un événement
Did you say several or seven?
Several, several.
So yesterday, I said that you could do this. I'll redraw this now. In this story here, I could have just picked 1, 2, or 3, not all of them. All I need to do is have a consistent story. Doesn't have to be all 3. So, in our history, if we had 2021 and the Sunday law, what we could do is do 2014 and Sunday law. We could do 2016, 2020, 2001. There's plenty of things that we could do. And each story would mean something different. But to me, the most obvious one would be the 21 version. Not because I understand what happens in 2021 specifically. It's because I'm pretty sure that that is the agitation. So, if that's the agitation, you need to look at the year 21 and see what's being fulfilled in that year that's going to show you that the Sunday law is imminent.
So my next question, I don't know if you would like to answer now. So what will be the events that we have to trace in 2021 that predict number 3 Sunday law? Answer now.
I don't know if you're going to like my answer now.
Just do it and we will see.
It's a joke. In 2021, we'll all do it together. Someone on this side who can help me. Who's going to help me? Charity? Pretender? Chichi? Regina? No, I want to know who's going to help me. To answer the question. The question was, what's happening in 21? So just revision, because we've already answered the question. Doreen? Doreen, you had your hand up? Yes, Doreen. Elder Doreen. Okay, so we're in Revelation 17, which is number 3. And what's the theme? Doreen. You said you didn't want to do it, and now you want to take over. I told you it'd be easy. Elder Doreen.
No longer sure.
Oh! She gave you the answer. You're still not sure. Okay, we'll do a group one then. Power struggle. Or as someone wants to say, the rise and fall of nations. So what we're going to do now, we'll say this is the theme of the line. So all of this is power struggle. Then you have to find a story that's going to connect to the end. Then what do we do? Group. Shout out. Oh, Doreen? It's one word. Just one word. If it's more than one word, don't say anything.
I wanted to say
That's
Petropioneer.
One word.
Panium.
No. Panium. What's our next thing we have to do? Let's see if we can find it. Hook. I heard hook. So now we're going to look for a hook, which is? What is the hook? Revelation 17. We said it's Babylon. It may not be the only one, but that's the one we picked. Are you okay so far? You okay so far? Okay. So we're going to go to number 1. And now we've got Babylon. So Babylon's a big subject. Where would we go to Babylon? We already know that Daniel and Revelation are the same book, so that's a good place to start. And if you've read your Bible a lot, like I've said you're required to, you will know, if you take out Nimrod, things like that, every single mention of Babylon in the Old Testament are all going to be connected to the book of Daniel. They all either lead to Daniel or lead from Daniel. So Daniel is like the clearinghouse or the central point of Babylon. If you do Jeremiah or Isaiah or Ezekiel, whoever way you do it, Daniel's going to be the place where you understand what's happening. Because he's going to convert history into prophecy. The history of Babylon into a prophetic understanding of who and what Babylon is.
L'histoire de Babylone a une compréhension prophétique de qui et de quoi est Babylone.
Everybody okay with that? We didn't discuss it in that way in any earlier study. So that's a bit of a new piece of information, perhaps.
Nous n'avons pas discuté de cette façon dans les études précédentes. C'est le point cette partie qu'on a.
So we're in Daniel,
Nous sommes donc dans Daniel.
and it's 12 chapters.
Il est composé de 12 chapitres.
You can chop most of them out really easily.
On peut se débarrasser des autres très rapidement.
So we'll end up getting to Daniel
Et on arrive donc à Daniel
1, 2, and 3. And by a process of elimination,
et par un processus d'élimination,
you'll have 2 and 3.
il nous restera donc les chapitres 2 et 3.
2 and 3 cause and effect,
2 et 3, cause et effet.
which will end up with 3.
Et on va se terminer par le chapitre.
So now we're in Daniel 3.
Maintenant nous sommes dans Daniel 3.
And now all you have to do is read Daniel 3,
Et maintenant ce qu'il vous faut faire c'est de lire Daniel 3.
and you have to look for what?
Et il faut regarder quoi?
You have to look for a power struggle.
Regarder à une lutte de pouvoir.
So there's one more thing
Il y a une chose supplémentaire
that we would have done,
qu'on aura fait,
which I haven't put on here now,
que je n'ai pas encore écrit,
because we've got power struggle,
parce que nous avons lutte de pouvoir.
and we've got a hook.
Nous avons donc un crochet.
And when we had power struggle, rise and fall of nations,
Et là où nous avons la lutte de pouvoir ou la chute et la montée des nations,
we had another important piece of information there.
il y a, pardon,
Another important piece of information.
il y a une information importante à mettre là.
Because it rise and fall of nations is a bad symbol or phrase to use.
Parce que la montée et la chute des nations, c'est un mauvais symbole ou une mauvaise expression à utiliser.
Because that's not what Revelation 17 is teaching. That's not what Revelation 17 is teaching.
Ce n'est pas ce que Apocalypse 17 enseigne.
It's not some rise and fall of nations.
Ce n'est pas une montée et une chute des nations.
It's what?
C'est quoi?
Preparation.
La préparation.
We'll say for war
On va dire pour la guerre,
or perfection.
pour la perfection.
So we're going to add in the concept of preparation
On va donc ajouter le concept de la préparation
or perfection.
ou de la perfection.
And you can go in Revelation 17 and understand the mechanism or the process for that.
Et on peut aller dans Apocalypse 17 pour comprendre le mécanisme et le processus pour cette préparation.
This sequence of kingdoms
Cette séquence de royaumes
is basically preparation
est quasiment une préparation
until you reach perfection.
jusqu'à ce qu'on atteigne la perfection.
Who decides what perfection is?
Qui décide de ce qu'est la perfection?
The heads
C'est la tête
or someone else?
ou quelqu'un d'autre?
I'll reframe my question.
Je vais reformuler ma question.
Satan or God,
Satan ou Dieu?
which is the heads,
Satan, c'est la tête.
not literally. So Satan is the one that's controlling all of this.
Satan est celui qui contrôle tout cela.
And you said that also easily
Vous l'avez dit si simplement.
because Adventism and this movement doesn't believe that.
Parce que l'adventisme et ce mouvement ne croient pas en ça.
Because you all believe God's in control of everything.
Parce que vous croyez que c'est Dieu qui est au contrôle de tout.
And now you've just said Satan is in control.
Et là, vous dites que c'est Satan qui est au contrôle.
And that's a big issue
Et là, c'est un grand point.
about how you conceptualize who and what God is.
De la manière dont vous conceptualisez qui et quoi est Dieu.
Satan is the right answer.
Satan est la bonne réponse.
I always find it funny to say they. It will decide when we're ready to fight,
Ils vont décider quand ils sont prêts à se battre.
not God.
C'est pas Dieu.
So we're not going to discuss that.
Donc on va pas en discuter.
Satan says when we get to number 7, I'm ready to fight.
Satan dit quand on arrive au numéro 7, là, je suis prêt à me battre.
So when we go to Daniel 3,
On va
power struggle, and also perfection. Now, when you were in Revelation 17, this is literally kingdom after kingdom. So you expect to see that in Daniel 3 and you don't. This is not the story of Babylon versus Israel. That's the story of what chapter? Revelation 13, or someone has just said Daniel 3. Not Daniel 1, Daniel 3. The Adventist version. Because they're going to use Revelation 13. So that's what I'm trying to show is it's the same story, but it's a very different meaning. Because if historical events, no, prophecy was seen to be a symbolic representation of history, then history can be seen to be symbols. So these real people can become symbols. So the story of perfection, power struggle is all good. And what do we learn from Daniel 3? How many kingdoms are there? One kingdom. So then, what we're going to do is we're going to take these characteristics and bring them into the future. So, when we have this one kingdom, we have to work out who's there at this fight. And I'm just going to call it government to government. It's not the people of the land. In our story, we said this was Nebuchadnezzar and the three men. So we've got these characteristics and we're going to bring them. So when we get to number 2, what should we expect to be seen at number 2? One kingdom having a power struggle, I'll say between or in the government. That's what you should expect to see in 2021. And did we see that? Do you think we saw that? Okay, so I'll ask you, mate, who's the one kingdom? Do you see I've got power struggle here. I'm going to call it political power struggle. Did you see that? In the USA? So we can put a tick there. And this political struggle was between various elements of the government. So without going into any more detail, you can see that how you would do this.
I don't know if the event I have in my head, in my mind. Je sais pas si l'événement que j'ai en tête. is the same event you are talking about. Et le même without mentioning it. So are you referring to January 6, 2021?
So I'm a bit stuck because what I'd like to do is ring up 4 people right now and ask them to answer that question. Because I don't think it's my place to do that. Because I chose not to make it my job. So I've got one of the 5 people. I'll ask them. So at least you'll have one version of the 5. Because 2021 points to the event in a very explicit way, it has to be part of the explanation of the Sunday law issue. So what I want to do is I want to take myself out of 2021. It's not my job to even mention that date. What I can mention, because all of you can mention, agitation. So we can mention agitation and Panium. Not Panium the date, Panium the event. Because that's a study that's nearly 10 years old. The Panium bit, that's 9 years old. The agitation is more than 20. So they're established truths. So all I want to do is back out of everything that I've just said, and I want to say this. I'm happy for Daniel 3. And for number 3, I'm happy for Sunday law. And this one, all I want to say is Panium. I don't even mind adding Midnight Cry. And agitation. So that's as far as I want to go. So Shemaine's question was, what is happening in 2 to know what will happen in 3? I've shown the logic to get there. So Curtis doesn't have to do that. So where would he go to explain 2 to show what 3 is? Or at least tell us what's happening in number 2, what the specific issue is. Go ahead, if you don't mind. I'm assuming this will be a revision for everybody.
You're not gonna like my response right now.
Go ahead.
Because I'd prefer to give my opinion next week.
I'm okay with that. So if Shemaine can wait for her answer. can extend your visit. They can be here in.
Just pour clarify. Just to clarify a point, if I can. If you can go up,
Tell me when to
please.
stop.
When you put two
Just tell me when to
yes,
stop.
there, yeah. Again, a little bit more. Yeah, just to clarify a point. In our, we said, you said, or we, I don't know. Juste pour number two can be either, depending of the story we are following. Can be Panium, or 2021, 2014, 2016, or 2020, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And so what Curtis will do next week, c'est de montrer pourquoi, it is to show why he's chosen 2021 for point 2. Is it that? Am I understand correctly? Est-ce que je comprends correctement?
Even I said 2021 would be the primary event or waymark for number 2.
Donc, 2001, ça sera l'événement principal pour le numéro 2. Yes, because if I understand why you choose 2001, it's because it's in the starting point for the agitation for you, yeah? The dispensation 2001 to 2024 or Sunday law, I don't know. Parce que toi, tu prends 2001 aussi pour montrer la période de l'agitation, 2001 à 2024.
I'm reticent to take us
Yes,
back and
just,
confused.
I want to really clarify in my mind this point.
We have 5 waymarks.
Et nous avons donc 5 balises.
Everybody knows these. Time of the end, 2001, Sunday law, closed probation, second advent. So, many years ago, I did a short series of studies to explain how you would create this line. The only way you can do that is by reverse engineering it, of course. You have to begin with Ellen White. What's Ellen White's story? How many waymarks? 4. What the 5 for Ellen White, Regina? Do you want to say? Time at the end. Sunday law. Close of probation. Second advent. That's all she knows. So that's Ellen White. Then Elder Jeff does what? How many has he got? Put your hands up if it's 5. Put your hands up if it's another number. It's about 50-50. Left and right. Ellen White has 4. Elder Jeff, as Catherine has reminded us, only has 4. and they're identical. Except this is Ellen White is Catherine 1798 1989. That's all that Elder Jeff did. Then, do you remember his name? From England. We'll put his full name. Thank you. Then Russell Williams. He's going to give us 5. Time at the End. 2001. We're okay with that. So, that's all fine. Did I say something wrong? Oh. But you can't just create waymarks. Jeff's one is okay. Changing it to 1989. Russell's one, really Williams' one, is problematic. So you need to really understand. You need to go back and explain that properly. How's that done? To prove that you can do this. We're going to use 2 methods. Someone said like Justina? Sorry? Oh, we'll wait.
I think the story of
Wars? Woes. So I'm going to say angels and the agricultural model. It's the agricultural model that proves all of this to be correct. Justina said woes. Was she right? Because I put angels. Was she correct? Yes? No? We don't know? What angels are we talking about? Don't say 1, 2, and 3. Which ones? Millerite? The Millerite angels. And what's the greatest waymark of the Millerites? 1840. Which is what Justina said. All good? Is she right? Yes. I just wanted to put angels down. I wanted to put angels. But those angels are Millerite angels. That's the first angel. Everybody okay? Anybody confused? So you can't just stick 2001 and from nothing. You have to construct it from somewhere. The mechanism by which that was done was through an understanding of angels and agriculture. And then they did the third one, which was? Sorry? No. Not that I remember. Catherine?
The 7 steps of salvation.
Do you remember? Pretty good with that? This is how the line of the 144,000 was constructed through these 3 models. Without them, you don't have anything. Not anything that's robust enough to be confident is correct. Okay, so once you do that, and you create or confirm 2001, then what do you do? Time at the end and 2001. Then what do you do? You go back to Millerite history and you see that there were 2 important years. To create 2 waymarks, which in our history was which one's 96? What's that one? Give us the first one. 91, 96. We'll take that out. Let's do the Millerite version. $18. I've got 18. Next one. Next one. Okay, so if we're okay with that, we can create 2 waymarks out of thin air based upon the Millerite experience, and then we call that arrival, increase of knowledge, formalization, and we'll just call that test if you want. So you're okay with that? And then we do another thing from where? Millerite history. We forget all of that. And where do we go? Which year? Okay, Justina, no one gonna help us? Justina. Thank you. So this is the year we go to.
Is it 1844?
Tell us why we go to 1844.
Because of April 19.
Forget the date. What happens then?
We marked the
Boston.
okay, Boston, Concord, and Exeter.
And what is Boston, Concord, and Exeter? 3 cities in the United States where they have meetings. So then we go from these events through the Millerite history. We go back to Millerite history, do a repeat and enlarge, and make them camp meeting dates. This version, version 1, is external events. Version 2 is internal events. So now we've got Boston, Concord, and Exeter. So as soon as we've got these two waymarks, some clever person said, we can chop this one line, into how many parts? Chop into 5 parts, and therefore you can do this, and you have an increase of knowledge in the formalization in every dispensation. And then some clever person said, we'll go to Daniel 11. Give me the verses or the range. How much? 10 to 16. And if you go to Daniel 11, 10 to 16, it's a historical story. And what you can do there is find what event. A Sunday law. You can find the Sunday law there. And then you see 2 events before the Sunday law. Actually 3 events. But there's 2 events. So you have a Sunday law in these verses. And what do you have before that? 2 battles. Did someone say battles? 2 battles called Raphia and Panium. And this was all done in 2016. So that's what Raphia and Panium are. It's these 2 waymarks here that precede the Sunday law. Oops. Verses 7 to 16. So, now we know that there are 2 waymarks before the Sunday law. And we know the characteristics of Panium. It's either call it Exeter or formalization, which is what we've put before. I'm explaining how we did that. And Alan White will tell you the formalization is the agitation. It's not a quote. It's a logic. So that's how we get all the way to what we've discussed up to this moment to make this number 2. You could have other 2s, but this is the best one. It's the closest one to the Sunday law. It's the one that you should expect an agitation of. The message, the explanation is well defined. It has all the properties that you need to look for. And because Curtis is here, not for any other reason, when he's going to explain what he thinks is going to happen or happened in 2021 that points to the Sunday law. And hopefully he'll do it in the framework that we've discussed in our classes. using all of this logic that we've discussed. I think we've come to the end of our class, and unless someone's got a specific question that I could address. Nope. Let's close with prayer. Holy God, I want to thank you. Day by day, class by class, even though answers generate more questions, help us to see how you're leading us step by step to have a clearer understanding of the events that brought us to the Sunday law, so that we can have a unified and consistent understanding. That we can all stand on the same platform and have confidence that the end is nigh. In Jesus' name, Amen.